Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and talking about the time when legendary frontman Brian Johnston had to step away from AC/DC back in 2016 because of health problems. We know that Axel Rose from Guns N' Roses stepped in and did a great job finishing off that tour, really saving the day. You know, they had, I think, like 15 shows or something like that left, maybe more, and Axel came in and did the run there. Big shows, and sounded great. Sounded more like Bon Scott. Well, we're learning now that there was other singers that were auditioning, and Nick Sester from the band Jet, Australian rock band Jet, famous for songs like Are You Gonna Be My Girl, Cold Hard Bitch, platinum selling band Jet, great singer. 1 2 3 you gonna come. I can't sing the song like he does, but he has a gritty voice. They're from Australia. It made sense. He remembers he was staying at his in-laws house and got up one morning and read the paper that Brian Johnston was out of the band for some time, and he remembers telling his father-in-law, man, those are gonna be tough shoes to fill. And 20 minutes later he gets a phone call, would you be interested in coming to Atlanta and auditioning to fill in for this next round of tour dates? And he really said, you know, I was like, he says this, I was like, I think I'll say yes just for the life experience. I really wasn't expecting to get the gig, but I thought, how could I turn down this opportunity? And he went over to Atlanta. He went to the Black Crowes rehearsal space. Again, not expecting to get the gig. Met up with AC/DC at the rehearsal space, and was impressed by what he saw, to say the least. He said it was a tiny place, but they were set up there with an enormous back line, meaning speakers and cabinets. And I remember watching AC and thinking, there's no way all those amps are on. Let me tell you, they are on with an expletive. It was the loudest thing I had ever heard in my life. He said Angus Young put him through the paces. The frontman continued. Everything was a test to see how I could handle it, how I could handle the volume. Let's do this song. And he says he didn't know some of the songs off the top of his head. And Angus would say, go over there and learn it. The whole band would be waiting for 10 minutes. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was intense. But realizing now how professional a guy that Angus Young is, you know, by Chester's own evaluation, the singer handled the Bon Scott material well, but struggled with the Brian Johnston tunes, which is hard. You know, if you've been in a band before and you want to do AC/DC songs, they're so intense, but the Brian Johnston grit and gravel is just, it's difficult to sustain. It's one thing to do it for a little bit. It's kind of like Rod Stewart. You know, you think you can do it until you're a minute and a half into the song, and you can't sustain some of that stuff, especially with Brian Johnston. He says this, it was very unusual way of singing, he said, of Johnston's style. And then someone told me, you're making the mistake of thinking that Johnston is pushing out an enormous amount of volume, which is how he sings, Sester says, but he's not. He's whispering directly into a microphone with this enormous volume behind him, and it sounds like the loudest thing in the world, but he's barely pushing out volume. And maybe I'll try that too. Maybe you just get in there and you do this, and you just have a hot mic, as hot as possible. Anyway, Sester recognized that he was not the only singer auditioning, and he wasn't surprised when Rose got the gig. It was all very secretive, he said. And Axel was there at the same time, and someone had accidentally left his name on the sheet. So he saw Axl Rose's name on the sheet. I'm sure that intimidated him, and that's my story. It's interesting when you hear these things. You hear stories of Miles Kennedy, auditioning for Led Zeppelin, and Steven Tyler auditioning for Zeppelin. They are hard shoes to fill. Listen, have a great weekend. Take a look at my channel. We do shows every single day. Subscribe if you like the content. Peace out. Have a good weekend. See you.